Hold up, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Double M Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
So Turki Al-Sheikh posted a very important question to Twitter, and we're here to decipher what that means. Can David Benavidez still make 168? Let's talk about that.
So, as my friend here said, Turki Al-Sheikh posted the question to Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Can David Benavidez still make 168? Now, this kind of drove everybody into a frenzy. People were saying, oh, he's asking to see if he can make the fight with Canelo. Oh, he's asking to see if he can make the fight with Terence Crawford. So we wanted to address the speculation here. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I think it's all speculation in the direction of Canelo Alvarez. That's the correct speculation. Why do I think that? Bomac himself said it. Terence Crawford has said it. We're not fighting David Benavidez. Terence Crawford himself, not my words, his words, on the Pound for Pound podcast with Usman and
my thing is Benavidez is a big dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not to say I won't fight him. I fought his brother. You know what I mean? His brother was big when I fought him. But, you know what I mean? Benavidez is a big dude. The only reason why I entertain Canelo is because he's not a big dude.
He's 6 foot something, super tall, super big. He'd probably come in weighing at 180, 190 the night of the fight. So, no, there's just no point. Bomac said it himself. We're not fighting David Benavidez. They've shut the door. Now, don't get me wrong. Money talks. And, of course, the right amount of money could change Terence Crawford's mind. But I'll be honest with you. Let's all be honest. I'm not saying this to take away from Terence Crawford beating the living daylights out of Canelo. David Benavidez is a little bit too much for y'all to be asking for that. I think everyone that's been asking for people for Terence Crawford to fight David Benavidez, stop being greedy. Let the man enjoy himself. He just won a major championship against a major individual. This is really, if we're being honest, Terence Crawford beating Canelo is his crowning achievement. Not just because he got the undisputed belts at 168, but also because it's the biggest name on his resume. Biggest payday, all that good stuff. So this is his crowning achievement. Why y'all got a brain on his parade? Let the man enjoy himself. On top of that, he said it himself. He's not going to fight him. He's saying it himself. Terence Crawford and Bomac are both saying it themselves. David Benavidez is just too much. He's too big. Too much difficulty there. Let's get that off the table. So I think the speculation going in is for Canelo Alvarez. I think that's the right speculation. Everyone has been asking for that fight for a long time. The one thing that Canelo said, the one thing Canelo Alvarez said is, give me $200 million, I'll fight him. He just made 150 with Terence Crawford. $200 million is not out of the question. I think it's an extremely reasonable request, given even Turki Al-Sheikh's looking for the fight. He's asking the questions. So we speculated on a different video that we believed that what would happen is Canelo he has 2 fights left on his contract with the Riyadh season. He would have one tune-up fight, get ready for it, and then his final fight would be David Benavidez. Imagine this, if you will. Canelo Alvarez goes, he fights a light work opponent, looks great, all that good stuff, and then he says, "What I'm going to give you guys what you've all been asking for." And then David Benavidez comes in the ring, super hype for everybody, draws in a lot of the casuals, a lot of the hardcores like ourselves, all that good stuff. And then on his retirement fight, he fights David Benavidez, loses to David Benavidez because I do think David Benavidez is going to beat him, passes the mantle, so to speak, to the Mexican monster. I think if you wanted to write a boxing story, there it is. Perfect boxing story. Canelo gets a massive payday. David Benavidez gets the mantle passed on to him. He's now the successor to Canelo as far as the Mexican community. All that good stuff. It writes itself, folks. It writes itself. So I think that's the more than likely scenario that is going to happen. I think that's the reason why Turki Al-Sheikh was stated to be in talks with David Benavidez' camp. I think that's why he's asking the questions. I think they're working on building up the fight that we all think is going to happen. Again, listen, if I'm Canelo, he said $200 million. I think, again, they just hit 150. I think Turkey busting out an extra 50s, it's like chump change to them. I don't think it'll be that hard of an issue. I think they'll make the fight happen. I think everybody will be super excited for it. Turki Al-Sheikh will be able to say, I made this fight happen. I was the guy. I was the only one that could make this thing happen. So an accolade for him, an accolade for Canelo, an accolade for David Benavidez. So I think overall, that's what we're going to see. Again, Canelo will have one tune-up fight right before his final fight. Final fight will be David Benavidez, and then it'll be a full circle moment for everybody. Everybody will get what they're looking for. So that's the reality of what I think that comment was. That's the reality of what the tweet was. I think he's looking to see if David Benavidez would be willing to make 168. David Benavidez said it himself. Listen, man, for Canelo, I will make 168. He's saying, hard line, I will get that bad boy done. So I think this is the right speculation. I think this is where we all should be looking. Even though, I mean, Terence Crawford has said it. Canelo has said it. Canelo said it way before Terence Crawford said it. You know, he's going to bring an extra 25 pounds if I fight him. He's going to, you know, he's a much bigger fighter, blah, 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 blah. Terence Crawford recently said, listen, man, even though when he was asked about David Benavidez, listen, man, when I'm gauging my opponents, yes, Canelo, he's stocky. He's thicker for the 168 division, but he's not big. He's actually a smaller 168. And that's why Terence Crawford said that he thought he could beat him when he was sizing him up, so to speak. David Benavidez is a little bit too far. I think David Benavidez just brings a little bit too much work. The combinations, we've all seen them, that David Benavidez puts together, that'd be tricky for Terence Crawford. So I think the only logical sense is a final match, final contract between Canelo, David Benavidez. That's the match to make. Let's get it done, Turkey. What do you think about that, my man?
I think because of the monumental win that Terence Crawford had over Canelo Alvarez, the fact that Turki Al-Sheikh posted that leading question, which I do think Turki Al-Sheikh was possibly posing that in relation to Canelo more so than Terence Crawford. I do think the fact that Terence Crawford had just won a phenomenal win, a tremendous win, one that etched himself into the history books as one of the greatest. I do think people led on to that and saying, okay, David Benavidez, it's the next fight for Terence Crawford. I don't think it was unfair for people to put that on the leading question being towards Terence Crawford, but I do think, realistically speaking, he was trying to advertise for the Canelo Alvarez fight, because to be fair, Turki Al-Sheikh has been trying to campaign for that for a long time. I think people just took that the wrong way, just because, again, Terence Crawford came off just a huge win for his win record, and people were looking for Dave Benavidez's next big fight, which people thought Terence Crawford was the man. But I do think for as long as he's been trying to campaign for it, Turki Al-Sheikh has been trying to make the fight happen for the Canelo Alvarez and Dave Benavidez fight for a long time. But the fact that, let's be honest, some of the hardcore Mexican fans do want, quote unquote, revenge. So they wanted Dave Benavidez to be their boy to win the belts back for Mexico, which I think is the wrong angle to put that on. It's the best of the best. It's not Mexico versus America. It's just the best boxer versus the best boxer. If that's your angle that you're trying to put at, you're in the wrong thing entirely. You should be campaigning for who is the best boxer out of the best boxer. Also, to be fair, Dave Benavidez is trying to win all the belts. So if you were campaigning for Dave Benavidez to win all the belts because you kind of felt like he was owed that for a long time, I wouldn't put it past you if that was what your reasoning was. So to be fair, for Dave Benavidez to get back his comeuppance of getting the belts that he should have been deserved for a long time, I do think at the very least, David Benavidez fans would want that, and they were trying to campaign for the Terence Crawford fight. But I do think because of the resistance from the Terence Crawford camp, both Terence Crawford and Bomac, as you previously said, and I don't think Turki Al-Sheikh's intention was for that fight to happen. So he's trying to make the more realistic marquee winning option would be for the Canelo and David Benavidez fight. Again, like you said, there's much more story in that. There's more marquee value in that. There's more money to be made in that, especially if Canelo campaigns for it just right, negotiates the price power just right. I do think the David Benavidez fight versus Canelo would be a much more marquee money-winning matchup than so would a Terence Crawford versus David Benavidez. Which one of those is going to make more money? Again, like you said, there's more story in it. The only story that Dave Benavidez would have against Terence Crawford is Dave Benavidez finally gets the belt. There's no heat between Terence Crawford and Dave Benavidez, but there is heat in Dave Benavidez versus Canelo. They've been at barbs for as long as they possibly can be. Dave Benavidez even has shirts where he's a duck hunter and he's hunting ducks with heads shaped like Canelo. There's heat there. There's beef there. You can tell that they actively don't like each other. Why wouldn't you want money in that? I think that's the fight that they're campaigning for, and I think that's the fight that's going to be made at 168 for David Benavidez.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree with you more for every reason that you stated. I think we have to be realistic. Again, let Terence Crawford enjoy his shine, man. He won. He won in a good fashion. No one's disputing the win. It is what it is. Let him enjoy it. Let him enjoy it. Plus, on top of that, listen, the reality of the circumstances is that Crawford is likely going to retire after this. I mean, who's he going to face? I know he can go back down to 154, maybe even 160. Potentially campaign there, all that. I get it. I understand. But let the man enjoy his win, man. Let him. It hasn't even been a week. And people are already asking for him to get back in the ring. So let's let him enjoy his shine. I think the more than likely reality is Canelo versus Benavidez is going to be made. Because again, everybody would get a ton of accolades. Canelo, David Benavidez, Turki himself would get accolades. The fight would get done. Everybody would make a good amount of money. Canelo would be able to retire on a gigantic payday, more than likely $200 million. All that good stuff. So let's stop all the weird speculation towards Terence Crawford. Let him enjoy his accolades, his win, all that. And let's focus on the reality and the circumstances of what's left on Canelo's contract. We called it in a previous video. He's going to have one tune-up, David Benavidez. Call it a career. I'm willing to stake money on it. So we'll see how it goes, everybody. Make sure to stay tuned because I'm sure more and more things will come out at the beginning of next year, beginning of 2026. Right now, Canelo's going to take the rest of this year off, enjoy it as he should. And then after that, I'm sure we'll start hearing some news sometime, probably late January, early February, about a potential match for Canelo Alvarez, more than likely a tune-up match. And then after that, guarantee you, May, whatever Cinco de Mayo weekend falls on, that weekend, we're going to start seeing hype between Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez. Great fight, great setup. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.